Get ready with me while I tell you about how somebody in my family found my account and they decided to comment my videos and said that they understood my situation and that they're saving up for a place too, and that I'm welcome to go whenever I'd like, and that they're sorry for my situation. But then they went to go tell their mom. Their mom is my cousin. They went to go tell their mom what I was saying about online, and they made it seem like if I'm talking shit about my family. And so their mom went to go tell my dad's sister, and now my dad's sister wants to talk to my mom and dad about what I'm saying online. Okay, that was basically the whole story time. But yeah, I know who it is. I'm gonna block them after I post this video. I kind of hope they see it. So the girl that found my video and commented, we do have some past beef, but I say beef in an immature way because this happened when we were like 13 or 12, and we never talked about it. We never resolved the situation, but it's like we stopped talking to each other. We don't talk to each other like how we used to. And also, like, why would you comment on my video acting like you care and then go tell your mom about something that, like, you know she's gonna spread because I talk about her uncle? And the way I found out was my aunt's daughter, which is also my cousin, ended up telling me because her mom told her. And her mom didn't want to tell her who told her about my TikTok, but she kind of did, like, say like, oh yeah, this person told me. I'm genuinely just so frustrated because it's like, bro, what the did I do? If you're still mad about what I did when I was 13, bitch, let me tell you something else. I still don't think I was in the wrong for what I did when I was 13. I don't know why she's snitching on me. Like, hello? Like, I just come on here, make videos. I don't name drop. I don't say anything that's a lie. I don't say, like, anything. Like, the most I've said is that I live in the San Fernando Valley. So am I scared? No, not really. I feel like the comments prepared me. They were always telling me, like, somebody's bound to find out. And you know what, like, I didn't really care about somebody finding out. I'm just more pissed off at the fact that somebody found my TikTok, pretended like they cared, and then went to go tell their mom. Worst part is that in the comment she said that she understood my situation because she does have issues within her own family, but then she went to go tell her mom knowing that her mom's a fucking chismosa and is gonna tell the whole family. But yeah, now you guys know, like, why I don't talk about this, why I don't speak up for myself, why, like, I don't talk to anybody in my family about this, why I say nobody would help me, because the person in my family found out and then went to go snitch on me, acting like if I'm talking shit. So yeah, that's why I say, like, nobody in my family would ever take me in, nobody in my family would ever help me out, because you see what happened, honey? They found out and they went to go snitch because they think that me talking about my family and saying the truth, not name dropping but still saying the truth, is me talking shit about my family and me being ungrateful. But yeah, not too sure what I'm gonna do. Probably just gonna pack a bag just in case anything happens, in case they find out.
I think my man thinks I'm ugly. So we were on the phone, we were on FaceTime, and I asked him, or he asked me what I rate him, and I said I rated him a 10 because in my eyes he's a 10. I'm not comparing or looking at any other guy. When I really like a guy, obviously I'm gonna think that they're the most attractive person, like, that I've ever seen in my life. And that's genuinely how I feel because I'm so highly attracted to them that nothing else really compares. I'm not looking at other guys. I'm not comparing to other guys. At the end of the day, I still have eyes. Like, I can understand even if other people don't think that he's a 10 or don't find him as attractive as I do, or maybe he's not, like, conventionally attractive, I will still think that they're a 10. And then I asked, what would you rate me? And he rated me an 8. First, he rated me an 8, and then he changed it to a 9. And I was not offended at first because I was like, okay, you know, he's being honest. And this is where he got me. He said that a 10 would be someone like Dua Lipa or Jessica Alba in her prime, which I don't and don't get me wrong, I still think Dua Lipa is pretty. I'm not saying that she's not pretty and she's not attractive, and I'm not even saying either that I'm a 10 to anyone else. I don't care about being a 10 universally. I care about being a 10 in his eyes, and that's why I kind of got my feelings hurt. Because I was like, damn, okay, so I see you as a 10, but you don't see me as a 10. And so his argument was, oh, so every guy that you've dated was a 10, that you thought they were a 10. And I was like, yes, at the time when I was attracted to them. And he was like, wow, you think you're a 10? Like, wow, that's so cocky. And I'm like, no, I don't think I'm a 10. I should be a 10 to you. And I'm also not saying that I'm prettier than Dua Lipa, okay? And I get that an 8 or a 9, he ended up saying 9, and he was like, he stood firmly on that, which still is like, you could have just said a 10 at that point. If you think I'm a 9, just say a 10. But yeah, I think girls are just naturally like that. Like, we don't think about it practically. And I honestly have like a crush. I have crush goggles, kind of like beer goggles, but like when I have a crush, I just think that they're the most attractive person in my eyes. Even if they are like mid to everyone else, I don't care about that. I think they're attractive. And then he tried taking it back and he said that he was like, actually Dua Lipa isn't like that, isn't a 10. Like there's a lot other prettier girls out there, and still wouldn't say that I was prettier than her, which is fucking crazy. If you don't think she's a 10, but you still don't think that I'm more attractive than her, then that's saying something. So now every time I see Dua Lipa, I always think, oh, well, I'm not as pretty as her. And it's not even about being prettier or comparing me to anyone else. It's just the principle.
Am I in the wrong for not inviting my stepsister on the family trip that my fiance is paying for? When I was 11 years old, my mom married my stepdad, and with him came my terrible 13-year-old stepsister. Let's call her Emma. Emma dedicated our entire childhood to ruining my life, both inside our house and at school. Literally, I had no peace. She was so mean to me, I cannot even explain it. She was constantly making up lies and rumors about me and spreading them all over school. She would tell the most popular guys that I was obsessed with them and had photos of them all over my walls, which was not true. But since we lived together, everyone believed her and they thought I was crazy. And then to my parents, she would flip it and say that I was horrible to her in school. I would bully her. I made her life horrible, and everyone always believed her. And no matter how horrible and terrible she was to me, I never thought she was capable of doing what she eventually did. On Christmas Day, she announced that she was pregnant with my then boyfriend's baby. I didn't even know she knew my then boyfriend. She saw that I posted him on Instagram. She slid in his DMs and he began cheating on me with my stepsister. And then she decided she was going to announce everything and that she was pregnant on Christmas Day when we were all together, our entire family. She goes on to have that baby and marry my now ex-boyfriend and have the happy little family with him. And I cut all contact. I didn't even want to be in the same room as her. So if she was going to be at a family event or a family holiday, I would spend that holiday with my dad and my stepmom. Because my step-siblings from my dad's second marriage, lovely, absolutely lovely humans. So years pass and I end up getting engaged to the most amazing man. Honestly, my stepsister did me the biggest favor in the world, getting me away from my loser of an ex-boyfriend, because my fiance now is incredible. My fiance's entire family lives in Italy, and before the wedding, they wanted to meet my entire family. So they offered as an engagement gift to pay to fly all of my family members out to Italy. I didn't even know people did engagement gifts, but I'm liking this one. So the people invited to Italy were my parents, my step-parents, my full biological sister, her husband and 2 kids, and then my stepbrother on my dad's side, his wife and his kid. My parents are on really good terms, so this was going to be such a fun trip for all of us. Last week, I was talking with my mom about details for the trip, and that's when she asked if I've considered inviting Emma and her son. I said, Emma and her son, you mean the son that she got pregnant with while I was dating the father? I said, you know what, Mom? Honestly, that thought did not even come within 10 feet of my mind. She told me that Emma was going through a really tough time right now because she's separated from her husband. Wow, your marriage that was built on a foundation of lies and betrayal failed? I'm shocked. I am shocked. I couldn't believe it. My mom told me that she thinks this trip would be really good for Emma. And I said, you know what? This trip is about my fiance's family meeting my family. It's not really a self-empowerment reinvention trip for Emma, but great suggestion, Mom. Then my mom tries a different angle. She says, you know who really is going to be the one that suffers here? Emma's son. He's going to miss out on bonding time with his grandparents and his cousins. I said, you know what? You're right. He can come. Just send him with grandma and grandpa. It'll be fine. She'll just, hang out by herself, kid-free for the week. My mom just keeps going on and on about how hard it is for the family that Em and I have this divide between us. Okay, that's just not my problem. I get it's unfortunate, but I'm not the one that put us in this situation. She said that when Emma found out about Italy, she was so sad and felt so left out that everybody was going. I said, you know what? I actually felt really left out of my relationship when my boyfriend cheated on me with my stepsister and got her pregnant. Then my mom told me that her and my stepdad might not go to Italy because right now Emma's just having a really tough time with her separation and they don't want to rub salt in the wound by going to Italy. I said, you know what? I was having a really tough time while Emma was pregnant, but you were throwing baby showers, so I don't see the issue right now. My biological sister called me about this whole situation and she said that Emma's changed a lot. She's been going to therapy and has realized that all the things that she did to me were wrong. I said, took her going to therapy to figure out those things are wrong? That therapist does not get paid enough to deal with her. I'm just so confused because why is everybody so set on getting Emma invited to this trip, but Emma has not even contacted me. I've not talked to this girl in years. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm kind of considering just letting her come to just have all this drama behind us and just ignore her on the trip. But I don't want her there. I do not want her there. I just don't see a way that I could ever forgive her for what she did, but people are saying that I just need to grow up and get over it because she's family.
This is the story about how I had a stalker when I was in college. I have never shared this publicly, and I don't even know if stalker is the right word for it. I was followed when I was in college. So yeah, basically because of this whole ordeal, it is the reason why I stopped running for like, I want to say like 2 years. I stopped running altogether because I was too afraid to run outside. Let's get into it. This happened when I was a junior in college. I used to run all the time. I was a runner in high school, and when I was in college, I just did it for fun. I ran very frequently. I typically would stay in more populated areas, like on campus, and I would try to run where there was always like cars and people around. And one day I had just gotten done with a run, and I was just like walking out in front of my sorority house. I lived in my sorority house my junior year. So I'm like done with my run. I'm just like walking around to just sort of slow my heart rate down. And I'm kind of like right on the sidewalk, right near my sorority house. And I noticed this car like slowly inching up next to me. To this day, I still remember the exact car. I remember the license plate numbers. Like when there is a potential threat, you remember the signs. I just remember like looking over into the car. A car's inching up next to you. You look over. I saw a man in the car. It's just one person in the driver's seat. And I just remember he was doing something as he was driving and watching me. So obviously that was alarming. And it might have taken me a second to like register what was going on. I didn't really see his face or anything. The windows were kind of tinted. But you know, I could see enough. And so I think I just ran inside the sorority house. Like he sort of drove away and I ran inside my house, which maybe wasn't the smartest thing to do because great, now he knows where I live. I'm like, I didn't know what else to do. So that's what I did. Ran inside, ran to my house mom, and we called the police. Don't remember if anything came out of that police call other than like there wasn't much they could do. Of course, it happened again. This time I was running on campus and I was right near an apartment complex that I knew I'd be able to get into the lobby of. I was running and I saw the car. Like I said, I remembered the car because I like seared it into my memory, including the license plate numbers. I was thinking quick on my feet and I just ran into the lobby of the apartment complex. Sure enough, I actually saw somebody that I knew, and it was a girl that I just kind of like an acquaintance. And she was like, "Are you okay?" Like, and I just kind of explained everything to her. And she was like, "Do you want to ride home? Like, what can I do?" Honestly, at that point, I was like, I knew I could get myself home safe if I just walked back on campus. And so I was like, you know what? I'm fine. I'm just going to walk back on campus. You know, it's a busy time of day. I should be fine. That's what I did. I made it home. Obviously went to my house mom again and we called the police. And again, like nothing really happened. Like they were like, we know about this guy, but like at this point, he doesn't have any record of violence or like actually approaching me. So I made it through the rest of my junior year not seeing him again. I don't remember seeing him again. But then we get to senior year of college. And it was the first day of school. The first day. This man wasted no time. My senior year, I didn't live in the sorority house anymore. But I was there quite often because I ate all my meals there. The building that I had most of my classes in was the education building, and that building was the closest building to the sorority house. It was like a 3-minute walk. It was really close. On that very short 3-minute walk, I see the car again. He's following me again. My fight or flight just like activated and I bolted. to the house because I knew there's gonna be a lot of people there. I bolted there. It was daylight, and went straight to my house. Mom called the police again. Basically, we came to find out that I was not the only girl that this guy was following around. He was following around a ton of different girls on off campus, near campus. And yeah, I wasn't the only one, which was not comforting at all. Like, he was doing this to so many other girls. Just the thought that he was just like following us around and like watching us, and he knew where we lived and he knew the places we frequented. It was a horrible feeling. I don't ever think he was arrested because he never did anything violent that I know of. I don't know what the fate of this disgusting man was. I never saw him again after that first day of school, senior year. Thought I saw him a million times. My mind was playing tricks on me because I was so hyper aware. But the reason I'm making this video is, and I'm sure girls, like, I'm sure we hear this all the time, right? Be hyper aware of your surroundings. Like, be so careful when you're out. This is just another reminder to do that. Luckily, like, this guy was never violent. I feel so lucky for that. But every time I saw him, like, you don't know what somebody is capable of. You don't know what they're gonna do. And so it was still really scary to be followed around. You never know what they're gonna do. That's why I just stopped, walking outside altogether for a couple years, because I was so scared of being followed again. It took me a really long time to get comfortable, running outside again. And even now, 8 years later, I still am like looking over my shoulder, even though I make sure that I run in very populated areas at, in the middle of the day, where there's a lot of people. And I'm still constantly looking over my shoulder just because it's habit, I guess. The fact that I used to run outside at nighttime and not be scared, like in college, like freshman and sophomore year, I ran outside at night sometimes because sometimes that was the only time I had time. How did I do that? I was not scared. I had no fear. Like, what? So yeah, that is my story. It's just another reminder, girls, like, just be safe, be aware of your surroundings.
Okay, babes, I have another date story time for y'all. This one's a little more intense, so just giving y'all a warning. But there was this guy I was talking to. This happened last year, by the way. He was in my DMs, and I had known him since high school. We had known of each other since high school. Mind you, I graduated high school like over 10 years ago. I had never actually interacted with this person in person. This was like going to be the first time. He had invited me out on a date, and I was like, okay, yeah, why not? We have a lot of things in common. He goes to the gym, why not? The date plan was to go to Javier's in Newport, which is somewhat kind of far from like LA, and then I think to go to like Dave and Buster's afterwards. So I told them, like, let's make sure we plan it because I do need some time to make time for something like that. So cool, he planned the date and everything. Now, I want to say maybe a week before the date was supposed to happen, he just so happened to be at a local bar that I had went to recently, and I had posted on my story. So he had texted me that he was there, and I just so happened to be in that area, and I told him, like, oh, I should pull up or whatever, jokingly. And he was like, yeah, you should. And he was like, I'm here with my uncle, you should still come though. And I was like, no, that's a little weird, you're with your uncle, I don't want to go. He's like, no, just come. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, let me just go. And I want to go feel out the vibes before the date, because mind you, I've never hung out with this person in person. So I go ahead, pull up, everything's chill. His uncle is a little drunk, but we're having a good time. We're laughing, making jokes, whatever. He buys me food. He buys me a drink. Everything's going well. But then I realize he starts getting a little touchy with me. Like, he's sitting across from me on the table, but he comes around the table. He's putting his arm around me. He's putting his hand on my leg. He's getting like real close and real touchy. And I didn't really feel so comfortable with that because, mind you, again, this is the very first interaction that we have in person. Okay. Even though I've known of him, it's like I still don't know you. Okay. And yeah, it just kind of he was trying to claim his territory type vibes. Like, girls, y'all would understand what kind of vibe that is. In a room filled of other men, that's the vibe it was giving. I felt a little uncomfortable. I didn't really say much because I'm like, he didn't do too much to the point where I felt like I had to speak up. But yeah. And then it finally got late, and I was like, you know what? I need to go home. So I told him, I'm going to go home. He was like, okay, let me walk you to your car. He's walking me to my car. As he's walking me, again, he's very touchy. He has his arm around me and he's just getting really close. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I still, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, I don't know this man. I don't know why he's getting so touchy. And usually if a man is getting very touchy, and mind you, this isn't even a date, but he's getting really touchy on a first interaction, I feel like he just wants one thing. That's the one thing I'm going to start thinking. Okay? We get to my car. I go open my car. I sit in my car. He's like standing outside with the door open. And he's talking to me. And I'm talking to him. I'm responding back to him. He tries to stop me in the middle of me talking. And he puts his hand on my neck. And he starts to choke me. And he's not choking me as in like he's obviously trying to freaking choke me. And I mean, no, he's doing it in a more sexually aggressive way. But that still isn't, like, that's not what that doesn't make it okay. But he starts doing that. And he gets his face closer to mine. And he's trying to kiss me. Again, this is the first interaction. So I feel super uncomfortable. And I didn't like it. So what I did was I choked him back. I grabbed his freaking neck. I pushed him back. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, I don't know who the fuck you think I am, but I'm not that fucking type of person. I don't give a fuck how good looking, how much money, all these things that a man can have. I don't care. If I don't know you, I'm not going to allow you to treat me like that. Because I don't know you. So I checked him real quick because I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And he tried to do it again. And I was like, no. Like, you got me fucked up. Whatever you got going on right now, that is not it. And he was like, my bad. He's like, I see you have standards. The way I was so pissed, but I was trying to keep my cool because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Finally, he left and I just sat in my car and I was like, yo, I am not gonna go on this date with this guy. I'm not gonna go. Because this made me feel uncomfortable. This made me feel unsafe. But it took me some time for me to process it and actually realize what was going on was wrong. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, we were in the process of talking and we had a date plan. I was trying to convince myself that it wasn't such a big deal. No, this is not okay. If someone treats you like that and is disrespectful of any boundaries, even on the first interaction, it is completely wrong. And I started to realize, I'm like, okay, he's trying to take me out somewhere far from LA on the first date. I'm going to feel so unsafe after this first interaction. He's trying to put his hands on me like that. Thinking that... Anyways.
My best friend of 10 years tried to ruin my life. Story time. So I had this friend who we will call Amy. Her and I have been absolutely inseparable. Now, I recently got engaged. This guy's incredible. We will call him Steve. And Amy has been the biggest cheerleader for the entire relationship. So fast forward to the engagement party. It is a beautiful night. And I noticed that Amy is enjoying the drinks. She is knocking them back. And it wasn't like a cutesy, oh, she's having such a great time. It was like, no, girly pop is embarrassing. She's bumping into the waiters. But whatever, right? This is my party. I'm trying to enjoy it. I was like, let her enjoy her night, That wasn't until she grabbed the microphone. Put it down, Amy. Everyone I know is at this party. My family, Steve's family, my co-workers, Steve's co-workers, anyone we have ever known, right? I'm needing best behaviours from my best friend. So she's holding the mic. She proclaims to the whole room, I can't hold this in anymore. I have to tell the truth. The way my heart would fall out of me. Girly Pop takes the biggest pause. The room is on pins. She goes, I have been in love with Steve the whole time. I'm thinking, brilliant, I just lost my best friend. And then she goes, and he loves me too. So what now? I fear my goal every time I film is to just see if I can get shinier and shinier. So I look over at Steve, who looks like he's been hit by a literal truck. The entire room, silent. Naturally, I need more information on the topic. I'm like, Amy, what are you on about? She says, again, reminder at my engagement party, Steve and I have a connection that no one will understand. Does Steve know about this connection? He says he only proposed to you because he didn't have the balls to tell you the truth. That literally does not make any sense. At this point, reality is set in. Naturally, waiting for him to deny the whole thing. No, do you know what he said? Amy, she didn't deserve to find out like this. That shit cray. Imagine my full body is now shivering because I've just found out that my fiance and my best friend have been seeing each other. The next thing you know, rink has been thrown straight at Steve's head. Amy's having a full-blown breakdown. I'm now walking out of my own engagement party with a full bottle of Prosecco with a straw. I'm gonna try something different with my lips. If it doesn't work, we'll fix it. Stick with me. So here's the kicker. About a week later, Amy sends me a text saying, I hope we can move past this because best friends forever, remember? Girl, be so for real. What do you think?
My fiance cheated on me with a married man, and I'm now going out with his wife. So a few weeks ago, my fiance, 25 female, cheated on me, 28 male, with the guy, 36 male she met at work. She came in after she got off work and immediately broke it off with me. I was 10 minutes away from walking out of the door for work, so I called out to try and fix things. We had our problems, and I had been pretty depressed and was neglectful of our relationship the last few months. But we had just had a conversation about how we were working through our stuff, and I really had no idea anything was that wrong. She told me it was because of my depression, that she was really worried about me and that I needed to go talk to a therapist because she was worried I was going to end up myself. Fast forward a couple of hours and my brain has been in overthinking mode for the wild time. I finally convinced myself that she was cheating on me because she was talking about this guy like a high school girl talks about her crush. And I went through her phone. And I'm not usually the person to do something like that, but I just had to know. And I found some pretty sexually charged messages between them. I stopped as soon as I found them. So no idea how long they've gone out for. And then one of the worst days of my life began. I woke her up and confronted her over it. It took a little bit, but she did admit it. Told me she was afraid I was going to kick her out if I told her the truth. We were together for 4 years. I was preparing to take on more hours at my job so she could quit hers and take some time to recover from her growing burnout. After we talk and everything is said and done, I call my best friend. I'm not a petty person, but she 100% is. She proceeds to make a post in a local Don't Date That Man Facebook group. Little did we know this was going to absolutely explode. Almost immediately people are commenting on it. And then his wife, 36 female, comments on it. She had no idea. My best friend reaches out to her and we get all this information from her about him. Audio recordings where he is screaming at her and she is just crying. We see exactly the person this guy is. I send the information to my ex. She has moved in with him at this point, and I can't not warn her about what she has walked into. And he's already gotten her to believe that his wife is a terrible person. So I reach out to his wife. We are both going through an absolutely terrible situation, and we could possibly use the support from someone that can understand what the other is going through. And we start putting everything together. This has been going on for months. Regardless of whether they were sleeping together for the entire time, he had been coming home late every night for several months with food wrappers from where she works overnights at, even though his wife was preparing food and leaving it in the microwave every night for him. Me and her talk for several days, just trying to piece everything together, and we end up finding out we have so much in common. We make each other laugh and we have a good time. So we meet up, and things went from there. We set boundaries because we both realized that if we want to be healthy partners for anyone, much less each other, jumping right into another relationship probably isn't the smartest move. But the more we talk to each other, the harder and faster I fall for her. And I can see that is the same for her. I can see it in her eyes when we meet up at the park and hear it in her voice when we talk on the phone. I didn't want to be with anyone after what I went through, and now all either of us can think about is how scary the future seems. She makes me want to be the man I've always dreamt about being. We have no idea how this is going to play out, but we know that there is absolutely something here.
I tested positive for chlamydia. Me and my wife have been married since 2016, been dating since 2008, have 2 kids together, one just turned 1 last month. This past Monday, she received news from her doctor that she tested positive for chlamydia. She immediately contacted me while I was working to give me the news. She seemed very shocked. She had seen the doctor because she had been having pain down there and thought it might have been from changing tampon brands. She was given antibiotics that same day and has already started her treatment. This morning, we went together to get myself tested so that we can find out if I have it too. I've also been having symptoms of discomfort that align to a similar time frame as her. So I'm very confident that my results will show positive. During our entire relationship, I have remained faithful, so as you can imagine, it's hard for me not to want to point the finger. Since we found out, she insisted that she also remained faithful and has nothing to hide. I truly want to believe her because we've built such a beautiful life together. House, kids, friends, etc. Her theory is that it came from me, but from my previous relationship 17 years ago, which all of the research I have done shows that it's a very small chance, if at all. Last night, I requested to look through her phone, which she agreed. She unlocked it and handed it to me immediately, but I didn't end up doing it because I felt her reaction answered my question if she had anything to hide on it. This evening, I asked her how she would feel about doing a polygraph test, and she welcomed the idea, once again stating she has no secrets and this either had to come from me being unfaithful or it lying dormant. A few months ago, she got on a new gym craze and has been really committed to it, 4 to 5 days a week. She typically will go after the kids are asleep and come home around midnight, sometimes later. Since we found out about the situation, she hasn't missed a single gym night, even on a Monday when we found out about this. Whereas I can barely keep my head straight and function, she seems to be handling it like nothing out of the ordinary. I know not everyone handles things the same, and she has told me that she goes to the gym to help her get her mind off of it, but it just seems that it's not bothering her like it is me. I have never caught her in any serious lies or had any real reasons to suspect her of cheating throughout our relationship. When we have talked about this situation, she doesn't seem like she's lying. Normal eye contact, no fidgeting, no trying to change the subject, and as stated, she hasn't refused to agree to my request for further digging. I really don't know where to go from here, with or without a positive test on my end, and seeking advice on how I should move forward.